everyone. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I'm Dr. Kelly Tanner, and today I have with me one of my favorite people, Dr. Laura Schwindt. I just call her Laura.
Yeah.
And Laura, we have been at so many conferences together, and being in your energy is, I just described to her that when I go past her, when I'm with her, it's like a big, warm
Mm.
hug. And you are doing such great things with the Mentor podcast and your coaching programs. And I wanted people to learn more about you. So, welcome to the show today.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. And the thing is I feel exactly the same about your energy. Like I think the last conference we were at, we saw each other like from a long hallway and we were like zoom, like, oh, I can't wait to say hi.
We did it was like, hey, like a beacon. Pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew, pew.
Yeah. So thank you. I'm excited to be here and absolutely adore you as well.
Thank you. Well, we always ask the question, why dentistry? Did it choose you? Did you choose it?
It's really a good story, actually. Thank you for asking. I love telling this story because I get to feature one of my favorite humans, which is my dad, who he passed away last year, but he was a dentist. And so I was the youngest of six kids. And I just remember that he never complained about work. He always came home in a good mood, and didn't have anything to say about the day other than it was a great day. And I just always remembered that growing up. And then another thing I remembered was that he was available for me. He could sometimes come to my games when I played, on a team sport in high school. He was there on the weekends. Those were things that I remembered. And so when I got into college, I thought I wanted to be an OB doctor. I thought, I want to deliver babies. That sounds really cool. And so I shadowed one. And she was great. She really inspired me. I thought this is perfect. And then she said one thing.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, she said, "And I'm here every 3rd night." And I said, "What do you mean you're here every 3rd night?" She said, "I sleep at the hospital every 3rd night I'm on call." And I was just like, What? How do you do that?" Right? And so then I remembered, my dad was always home at night, my dad was home
Mhm.
on the weekends, so I didn't tell anybody, but I studied for and signed up to take the DAT, the entrance exam for dental school. And I got my results back and I did really well. And so then I called up my dad and I said, "I think I'm going to go to dental school." And he was just like, "What?"
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story of how I got into dentistry. And it's one of those things that when I first showed up, I had no idea. I didn't know what mesial or distal was. I didn't know buccal or lingual. I didn't know any of that stuff, even though my dad was a dentist. I just knew that he loved his profession.
Wow. So you didn't tell anybody that you were studying for the DATs that you were taking? How did you
I
keep
was
that?
I was terrified that I was gonna do terrible, so I didn't want anyone to know if I did, right?
Right, right, to know the difference, because either way, it didn't happen if it
Yeah,
if it
it
went
didn't happen,
poorly.
yeah.
So you liked the way that he came home and he was dad, and he seemed like he enjoyed what he did, he had that balance, he seemed to have all that in place, he seemed to be happy, fulfilled,
Mhm.
and so that's what you wanted out of that.
Yeah, and, everybody loved him, like, he was a people person, right? I think that's the heart of what he loved most about dentistry. I mean, I think he loved the artistic piece of it too.
Mm.
But he just loved connecting with people, and, I that was just something that I loved too, and so I thought, "This is just perfect," It's creative, it's science-y, and it's connecting with people.
Yeah. So then you graduated, did you own a practice? What was your
Yeah, so
background?
I was an associate for many years because I was kinda following my husband around the country as he did his training. He's a ER doc by training. He's not anymore, he's retired, but, um and then I opened my own practice from scratch. It was a small little practice, 3 operatories, and I ran that for the last half of my career.
Okay. And did you specialize? Were you a general dentist?
General dentist, general
Okay.
family dentist, yep.
And what were some things that because you're in a different space now. So
Mm.
you're as you were the general dentist and the day in and day out, did you find all that was as fulfilling as you thought it was going to be? And then how does that contrast to where you are now and what you're doing?
Yeah. It was very fulfilling. I absolutely loved my patients. I loved my team. Uh, However, during that time, I sort of lost who I was.
Mm,
Um, and I lost touch with what was important, my core values, my vision. I had this vision of this small boutique practice that had a family feel. And of course, it started to grow. And, I did all the things. I hired the consultant who said, well, you've got to add another operatory. You've got to add another hygienist. You got to get another assistant. You got to get some more equipment. And suddenly it was busier than I was able to handle. So then you need an associate. And then, there was all these layers of complexity that were what I thought was what I wanted. That's what I thought success was.
right.
But success to me was the small boutique family, tiny little practice that was manageable.
Yeah, I could see. I guess I've never thought about that where you can grow it too much, where it gets to be where it's, whoa, okay, stop or
Mhm.
pause or something. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not saying and that was for me, and I'm not saying that for anybody else, but, I had at that time, I had 3 small kids. My husband was traveling a lot for work, so a lot of times I was a single parent,
Yeah.
and I wanted to be good at the other things in life too. And when I grew my practice to that extent, it kind of sucked my attention away from those other areas that were important to me. In fact, there's a story I tell. It was one of my favorite patients came in. I absolutely loved visiting with her whenever she came in. And I sat down and we were visiting back and forth. And she said something that should have just made my day, right? Should have just lit me up. But instead, it just like drove a dagger into my heart. And what she said was, Laura, you're so good at doing it all. And I knew deep down that I wasn't good at doing it all. I was doing it all, but there were a lot of really important things that I wasn't doing very well.
Mhm.
And, my health was suffering, my relationships were suffering. I was not giving as much attention to my kids. My husband and I were fighting all the time about how much time I spent at the office. And so that was really the turning point for me. And that is why I do what I do now.
Yeah. So did you, from that point, did you sell the practice or what, what did you do from there?
Yeah. So that was when I hired my first life coach,
Okay.
which was really scary back in the day because it was it was a little admission that I didn't have it all together.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
That starts with self and yep.
Hmm. And as an owner, as a doctor, you're supposed to have it all together, right? And so it was really scary. I thought, oh, what if somebody finds out?
Right. Yeah.
What will that do to my practice? How will that affect my kids? What will their teachers think? Stuff like that. You think of silly stuff. But anyway, she was amazing. And I credit her with saving my life because I was in a really pretty dark space of burnout
Oh,
at the time. And, I worked with her for just over a year, and at the end of that year, I mean, she really transformed my relationship with stress,
okay.
It was more about not necessarily saying, "Okay, you need to get rid of stress." It was more like, "How can you change your relationship with this?"
Right.
And I think that was really important, but at the end of our relationship, I was thanking her and I was just saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much you helped me. I wish I could help people like you helped me." And she said, "Why can't you?"
Mhm. And here you are.
And here I am. Yeah. And so that was, that was way before I sold my practice and all of that. And there's a lot of time that took place between then and now, but those 3 words stuck in my heart, and I knew that that was part of my calling.
So this helped you once you started working with her, did you feel like it took a while for things to click? Like, what was your experience? Like, because
Really?
I know a lot of people are probably on the fence, not sure, is it for them? I think everyone needs a coach, someone alongside of them at some point in their lives. I know we've all got them. So,
Mhm.
what was your experience? Did it work immediately, or were you like,
Yeah.
what was that like?
Yeah, it did not work immediately, and in the beginning, I really, I I wouldn't say I didn't like her, but I didn't look forward to our calls. Because, um, here it's typical, okay? When I'm used to having a conversation with somebody where you ask about them and you ask about their kids and what they're doing and the weather and all of that stuff. And then we'd sit down to a conversation and she'd be like, "No, this is all about you."
Mm,
And you'd be just like, "Oh my gosh," started sweating. "What do you mean this is all about me? I've never done this before."
funny.
Um, and one of her very first, um, assignments that she gave me was to get up 15 minutes early and do absolutely nothing. And when she told me that, I thought she was crazy. I was like, "I'm exhausted right now, and you want me to get up 15 minutes earlier and do nothing? Like, I have so much to do. You want me to do nothing?" She's like, "Yes." So, I was like, "Okay, well, I said I would do it, so I'll do it." And I did it. And that was the beginning of my transformation. Because I hadn't stopped running since middle school, right? We get on that treadmill of achievement and we just keep running.
You're right. Yeah.
And I didn't know what it meant to listen to me or where my voice was because I was moving all the time, going,
Whose
going, going.
whose voice do you think that you were listening to, Laura?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. I love it. Definitely not mine. I think all the external voices.
Mhm. That's what I find so many times, I'm sure you do too, that it's the voices that aren't even ours that are driving our lives and our belief systems that and then it's almost like you stop in the middle of the street and you say, What's going on right now? How is this my life? What?"
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that
Yeah.
sounds like that's what happened.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, no, it wasn't easy in the beginning, but I came to love our calls. And I'll tell you that I have not gone a day without a coach in my corner since.
Hmm, powerful.
Mhm.
So you went h how long How long until you sold your practice until you realized that you found your voice and where you wanted to go? I mean, I know it's like an incremental, probably like peeling the layers of the onion. And
Mhm.
still, I think the onion is peeled within us because we don't realize some of the resistance that we meet within ourselves until we've arrived
Right.
with it.
Right.
But what did the rest of that look like after you started working with her and then your transition out?
Yeah. So yeah, there were several, she helped me transition my practice back to a more holistic, healthy practice. During that time, I actually lost all but one of my team members, which was shocking and made me feel like a big loser. But now, like any story, you look back in hindsight and you're like, "Oh, that's why that happened."
Yes.
Because it allowed me to create a dream team, like I'd never even thought was possible. And so the last half of my practice career was beautiful. I loved it. It was holistically healthier than the first half for sure. Um, but then, life happens, and we had kind of a medical emergency go through our family, which caused us to shake things up. And we decided we wanted to move. And so I put my practice up for sale, and it sold, which was a big, that was a big if. Like, if we were going to be able to move, that had to happen. And then we moved to the mountains in Oregon, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And that's when those 3 little words, "Why can't you?" kind of bubbled up again. So I thought, "Okay, well, I'm gonna become a life coach." So I started my heroic life coach training, and as I was doing that training, I knew that what I was learning, if I had applied that when I was starting out in my career in dentistry, my life would have been completely different.
Mm,
And so I made a vow that that's what I want to do. I want to bring these ideas, these tools, these um, self leadership values to as many people in dentistry as possible.
yeah, that's powerful. It's, so you went from getting that contrast of, "Man, I wish I would have known this sooner."
Mhm.
And how do you think that would have changed your life?
Mm. Well, number one, I would have listened to my voice.
Mhm.
Mhm. I would have been more in tune to my voice. Um, I would have allowed more curiosity, more exploration with my voice. But other things like confidence and imposter syndrome
Yeah,
could could have been really avoided. Taking care of myself, like knowing the fundamentals of eating, breathing, moving, sleeping, connecting, and really applying those to the way I was living. I mean, I remember getting 5 hours of sleep was a good night's sleep.
yeah,
And now now I would never even think of trying to operate on 5 hours of sleep. Um, I would have changed how I practice. So I would have built in oscillation breaks where, after a high intensity procedure, there would have been a break
yeah,
so that you could recover.
yeah.
And I would have, you'll love this, but I would have made sure that my entire team had those.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's, and I think that this goes beyond dentistry. So if you're listening and you're not in private practice right now, even taking time between meetings to
Hmm.
reset your brain, to get up and be able to walk, to know that if you're traveling and you're coming back, to be kind to yourself, to look ahead at your schedule to say, "That's not very loving of me to do that to myself." Right? Because the money, it's not about, yes, you wanna serve and the patients in the practice, you wanna be there and be on time and be
Hmm.
accountable for that, but is that the most loving thing for you to do for you and them if you're
Hmm.
empty and you're pouring from empty?
Yeah. Well, I love that you bring that up because these messages are not just for healthcare professionals. These are for everyone. And I think that's why this work is so rewarding, is because you can inspire your patients who then go and inspire their family members, who then inspire somebody in the community. And, that's the ripple impact of this. But, it's amazing our energy, and that all comes from us taking care of ourselves.
Yes.
How that impacts someone else. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the podcast, how we can sense each other's energy. And there's scientific proof that shows that when you walk into a patient's room and you're depleted and overwhelmed and discombobulated, that the patient senses that
Of course.
and it turns on their fight or flight. And that turns off their ability to heal.
Mhm. It makes them wanna run
Yeah.
and not trust you.
Yes. The subtle energy, and I think this sometimes gets woo woo or soft, but when you walk into an establishment, the energy right away.
Yeah, you do. Even in someone else's field,
Yes.
you can tell when something may be off or they may be thinking something, even if you know them or not. So to
Mhm.
be able to, I think, not only recognize your field, but then set boundaries around your field.
Right.
So, like with the oscillating schedule, is huge. And
Mhm.
to help the entire team understand that, this is what we're doing right now. This is where doctor is, how to plan ahead for that, what the culture is around that, how it's better for the patient. I mean, I see this, Laura. I mean,
Mhm.
this is a way of life,
Mhm.
way of life.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, how much happier would a hygienist be after scaling and rip planing to be able to go outside and get a breath of fresh air
Yeah.
for not just 30 seconds before she has to come back and clean her room and get ready for the next patient, but for 15 minutes?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, really take a break.
Take a break. Yeah. And it's those, I think that what we found as a quiet opportunity in COVID is because we had to see the patients one on one on one on one because we couldn't have the crossover, the paths, the everything, right?
Yes, yes.
We got more quality with
Mhm,
people, and I think that went a long way
mhm,
as that time doesn't necessarily equal money,
mm-mm,
and it's the quality of the interaction that the patient senses that we can do more by slowing down to speed up.
mhm, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
So, with your heroic workshops, I know that folks can find this information on your website. Tell us what you go into with your program there.
yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. It's a great workshop, and it starts with really knowing the ultimate game. Like, what is the ultimate game? And I wonder how many people really think that about that. Like, at the end of the day, or maybe at the end of your life, what are people saying about you?
Mhm.
What do they remember about you? What is the ultimate game you're playing? You know, and and discovering that it really comes down to living your values and being a good person, you know? And how do we do that? We close the gap moment to moment to moment from who we are and who we could be.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the first realization of the workshop. But then we really dig into getting clarity on your goals. 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then also developing personal protocols so that you can accomplish those goals.
Love that.
Hmm.
Protocols.
Right?
Mm.
Right? Things that you do every day that point to those North Star goals.
Mhm.
And then we talk a lot about, and I love this term from Heroic. They really hammer this home, but anti-fragile confidence. And so there's fragile. We all know what fragile is.
Mhm.
And then there's resilient. You can take on a lot of stress,
Right.
but you're better at it because you've got some coping tools. Or then there's anti fragile. And that means that you recognize that you actually get stronger with challenges.
Mm. Powerful.
Yeah. And so it changes your frame of reference for when anything hits because you're like, hey, bring it on. This might not be fun right now, but I know I'm going to look back and I'm going to say, I learned something.
Yeah.
I got better because of this, or this pointed me in this direction. And so we kind of celebrate that, and we look back at past wins and use that as fuel to pull us into those challenges in the future. And then we kind of bring it all together into a personal statement at the end that each individual creates that really is their anchor to go forward. And I love them because they build community. You have people coming together to talk about some of this stuff that you never get a chance to talk about this stuff with people. and great friendships are formed and lifelong. And that's pretty special.
Those are that's the best part. I mean,
Mhm.
one of the best parts. I mean, it's all the best part. It's all the gooey center of the donut, isn't it?
I love that description. Yes, I love the gooey center of the donut.
It's all the best part.
The best part. Yeah.
Yeah, that
All
the
right. So are you a cream or a jelly on this?
jelly.
Okay. I'm
I'm
a
a jelly.
cream.
Are you? Okay, yeah. It's been ein Berliner.
Well, we wouldn't be fighting over the same donut, so that's good.
That's right. There's enough to go around. So with that, it sounds like you have a period of the program that's like discovery, the tools to help you move forward, the support, the anchor, the community, and it sounds like a very nice thread all the way through, Laura.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I really give my heroic coaching community credit. They really care. They have a lofty goal of supporting 51% of humans flourishing by the year 2051.
Wow.
And so there's a flourishing scale. It's an assessment we take at the beginning of the workshop to kind of see where you are on the flourishing scale. And then hopefully by the end of the workshop, you've got some great ways to increase that flourishing scale so that you're living the life you were meant to live.
I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued. So you are offering this online through so you guys contact Laura for that information. I want to go to your website and I want to join the course. This sounds amazing because I think it's nice to know um, where you are of course where you are, but when you're thinking about the flourishing scale, what does it feel like when you're flourishing? Because I
Mm,
think that's where it lives in that energy and that feeling. So when you're thinking about that, are you creating that energy? Are you creating that feeling every single day?
mm,
That then you're leaning into that and that's what you're living in and living forward. Because if you're living in old memories and old past stuff, that's not where you wanna be.
mhm.
That's all past stuff, that's past energy, so the present is the present, so then you can be into that next gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I love the most about coaching is it is forward focused
Mm,
always. And I think our past has great value. And I think we can draw value from our past, but then it's always, okay, where are we going?
yeah, yeah,
And
how
you
do we
never
how do we use that and move
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah. And the best part about life if you do it right is you're never exonerated. There's always a next rung on the ladder, right? And how exciting is that?
It's true, it's true. Well, Laura, thank you so much. This has been so insightful. I didn't know all of the insides of your history and your story, so it kind of makes sense of how you've lived this too. You have lived experience
Mm.
through this, and you have so much to offer with flourishing, flourishment to other folks. So, you guys, if you want more on her programs, you want more of Laura, go in the show notes. And any final words and parting messages, Laura, that you'd like to provide to the audience?
Mm. I think the best is that often we don't need a full life overhaul.
Mm,
Often we just need to tweak one or two things a little bit at a time to set the sail in motion. And so start with something small. Like think about something that makes you happy and then schedule it. Whether it's, picking up fresh flowers for your kitchen countertop or getting on a walk with a friend or getting a great fiction book and curling up with a blankie and a warm
mhm,
cup of tea. But schedule it because if we don't schedule it, if we don't plan it, it often doesn't happen. But those little things that bring joy and happiness, they build. So just keep doing those little things, tweaking things a little bit at a time.
yeah, they make a difference in every little part of your day. Thank you. Those are great words.
Yeah, you're
Thank you
welcome.
for being on today, Laura.
Thank you for having me. I always love talking to you.
No, same. I wish you well in everything, and your podcast is amazing. Go on over and check out their podcast with the Mint Door. And to all of our followers, I always ask a favor to go on over to Apple Podcasts to give the Dental Handoff a 5-star rating. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and press the like button, subscribe, and share it with friends who you know who will love our message. Thank you for all that you do, everyone, and we will see you next week. Bye bye now. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.